Hey, howdy everyone, Velocity here, back in action for more Sad Time Attraction. That's right, if you do not want to be sad, maybe don't watch this, because we're gonna start heading into deep themes. And yeah, I think the biggest thing that I want y'all to understand what you need to do when you die, and I cannot stress this enough, explain what you want to keep. If you ever have the ability to think about it and try to figure out what do you want to keep, what do you want your relatives to keep, what is valuable, please itemize a list. Because I cannot stress enough, that is the worst part of when someone dies. Now, I mention this because I think you all could guess already. My grandma passed away, I think it was like late August, early August. And she passed away because of the previous thing I mentioned with her feet. Her feet had a problem. Forgot how much detail I went into it, but I don't want to get into any more. Let's just say it got infected, and it just accumulated from there. We were able to have her back for, maybe a solid week. I think maybe a week and a half. And she just wasn't the same person. She couldn't get up. She couldn't do all these things. And I could tell how much she hated the fact that she had to rely on others. And she was definitely someone that was stubborn about things and someone that didn't want to have help from other people. And I could get it in terms of that generation, and I could get it in terms of like humiliation. And it's just like, this wasn't something that I wanted from her at all. And that's not something that she wanted either. And I feel like we both had an understanding, kind of. Because I'm not sure if you know this, or if I remember correctly with the whole entire vlog situation. I was trying to set up a little situation where I would clean up a bunch of things. That way we'd have more room for stuff. That way we'd be able to like get more things and whatnot, and be able to take people and everything like that. And like, I just really, really want to be able to have my girlfriend over here, or to have somebody over here, just somebody over here to visit, and we could do stuff and whatnot. And like, I really, really wanted that to get going, but it kind of all just kind of halted. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that my grandma passed away, and it hit us both hard. My uncle and me hit us both hard. And I feel like I'm in a position where I could finally like be able to do things and whatnot, go back to certain routines. And after all this, after the whole entire surgery and the whole entire like grandma death, grandma like scare, and being able to go to Texas and whatnot, like, things are finally winding down to the point where I could focus on the house. And I think the best way to say it is, I'm glad she's gone, in the sense that I did not want her to suffer. I did not want her to continue to be here in this bed area right around here, just so we would have her. And I know my uncle would not agree with that situation. He would hate that thought process. But I was looking at her and I saw how awful she just felt having to deal with all this mess and everything. And just like, when some person is the other person's only something, not only is it bad for the persons involved, but it also creates a sort of dynamic that just is toxic and just like will ruin the person when they're gone. And I think that's really what I want to have my uncle like build back up about and everything like that. And like, not to put too much out there for him to deal with, but it just sucks when I'm part of a certain process in the healing process and he's stuck at like stage 1. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And frankly, I think if my grandma didn't plan everything, because she planned a bunch of shit when she thought she was going to die. And this happened all entirely after my father died. And I'm not sure if I really went into details about my father's death and whatnot, but my grandma had to deal with a lot of that shit and had to deal with a lot of doing things for the funeral and everything like that. I kind of was just out of the whole situation, to be honest. I was like 18 at the time, and I was going to go to a university, I think like in 2 years or something such like that, and just like maybe like a year. I didn't have time to process a bunch of shit. I just did not have time to process things. And it kind of like accumulated and got to the point where I became a NEET after I failed through college and, well, university, because it is technically university, not a community college. So I didn't have to like deal with all that grief until that happened. And having gone through several different grieving processes and whatnot, and having to deal with that situation, I've learned a little bit about myself, and a lot of it just has to do with the fact that I want to do stuff. When something bad happens, I want to do stuff that keeps my mind off the situation. Because if I don't have that, it's a big problem for me. And meanwhile, my uncle is on the opposite side of the situation where he does not want to do anything. And like, on top of the fact that like he has problems with work and he has problems with like medical issues and whatnot, and like he is just so hard to talk to sometimes. And it gets to the point where I'm just really scared of the thought that if I were to go anywhere else for like a solid like month, or if I were to just go entirely, he would be lost. Like just completely. And just like, I want him to be a little more reliant, and I want to be able to live my life, but I'm kind of stuck in the situation where I'm kind of being a caretaker of this whole entire home. And I like the fact that I have a whole home. This is cool. I don't factually own it, but like I'll eventually inherit the darn thing or something. Something to that effect. I will get something out of this. But it is something else to say that I just feel kind of stuck in the situation, and I want to like be able to clean the house. I want to get rid of my grandma's stuff that she just has lying around, like this fucking pen and shit, and just like, this pen doesn't work. It's not a good pen. See, that was me trying to write on it. Don't write or nothing, but if I start moving shit, he's gonna get mad at me. So we just have to kind of like keep this place enshrined, and like, she recently had this place cleaned entirely. And this whole entire chair right here, this is new. We got this when she came back because she wanted a new chair. And just a lot of it honestly has to deal with the fact that we just don't have anybody else here. He doesn't have anybody else to rely on. He's kind of the only person that wants to do things, and I have to wait for insurance to go through for top surgery and bottom surgery before I can start actually getting money jobs, I guess to say, is the better way to put it. So I'm trying to do that. And then on top of the fact, trying to like do this whole entire YouTube stuff and trying to do this whole entire Twitch thing, and just like, there's a lot of things piling on that I have to get rid of. There's a garage, there's a side room, there's this room, there is his room. And then there's the fact that the whole entire living room is just an utter mess. And just all of these things at once. And then on top of that, we have the bathroom to fix. And just having to deal with a whole entire house is awful. And I hate it. And it's the worst fucking thing. And I think what makes the whole entire fucking cherry on top is the fact that I don't have anybody else here. I'm not used to not having a lot of people around me. I don't mean in a sense that, like, I'm not used to being alone. Just, I'm not used to, like, somebody else being here helping to clean and everything. I'm not used to not hearing somebody at night. I'm not used to these things. And just, like, it doesn't feel right. I grew up in a house that effectively had 5 people in it. My mom, my dad, my uncle, and my grandpa and my grandma. And now it's just me and my uncle. That's it. My mom's still fine, but she doesn't live with me anymore. She lives with her husband now. And not to say I don't mind the fact that she lives with her husband now. I think it's great that she was able to move on and everything. But it definitely feels like the whole entire moving out of the nest situation. And I know it sounds weird to a lot of people because it's just like I lived with her, but it did not feel that way. It felt more like she lived with me in the sense that, like, I was mostly in the house. I was mostly doing the things and whatnot. I didn't clean a lot. I didn't do all those things, I will admit. But it just felt like she was leaving. And I just kind of didn't have anybody else there. I had my brother, but my brother was very clearly not wanting to deal with certain situations. And my brother and I do not communicate when it comes to certain things with household stuff and whatnot. And just, it was a bad situation that kept tensing things up when we didn't have an extra person there. And that was a big, big problem. And this is kind of what's happening with the whole entire situation with my uncle. We don't have a third person here to help those things. We don't have another person to help cut the slack, to help clean everything and whatnot. Because if it was up to him, a lot of the stuff would just end up being dirty, and that is it. And I don't mean that as a mean slight. I don't mean that as anything. I mean it as a frustration point that I'm just tired of having to clean a lot. I'm tired of having to do a lot of these things that I feel like he should be doing just a bit of. And I'm not even like asking for the damn moon here. I'm asking for put your trash in the trash. That's it. I know I said it was gonna be a sad episode, but I'm honestly just mostly frustrated and like, I guess a lot of this is just step 2 being worked out, anger. Because I don't deny my grandma's death. She saw it coming. That's the thing that sucked about it. She saw it coming, I saw it coming. I asked her what stuff I could get rid of. She told me these, and that. Got rid of it. So yeah, she is gone and the world is a little less bright for me. And it is especially dull for my uncle. And it sucks because I wish I could make his life better, but it doesn't seem to be getting better. He doesn't seem to want to be getting better. And sometimes you just have to let someone that doesn't want to get better to not get better. I think that's kind of the worst kind of thing. But it's a very necessary thing for someone's mental health that you can't help somebody unless they want to be helped. And I'm doing all that I can just so he is able to stand the bare minimum and he's able to get through the days and whatnot. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I'm trying to do all these things. And we're going to get a cat, so hopefully that cat will help with his mental state a bit. Because the cat will be here with him. It will interact with him. I'm not sure how much he will like the cat. He may not even like the cat. Then there might be certain problems with him, his food and such, and the cat itself. But this house keeps getting emptier and emptier. And I'll be real, my biggest fear is just to be the only one left here. That has been a very deep-seated thing. To see everyone go down one by one by one until it's just me. That scares me a lot. It does. And I have a girlfriend now. I have people that are interested in me. I have friends from here to there, and I have friends here around, and I'm not alone, but they can't always be there for me. And my girlfriends, they're in another state than me. I don't get to see them very often. I get to talk to them, but I don't get to see them very often. So a lot of it just comes down to me being a little bit worried about the whole situation. It only take one case of COVID, one just sudden accident, one something really bad happening for my uncle to be gone from my life. And when you're at that point, it gets really scary. Because I don't know what would happen if my uncle, something bad happened to him. I might lose the house. There's something that could just really awful happen, and just like I would be beside myself just trying to figure everything out. There would be people to help me, but it'll go down again. The counter will go down. And that's the thing that's scary. They have to deal with all this frustrating things and whatnot and all these situations. And I feel constantly like I have to be the bad guy in order to keep moving ahead. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be this bad person that just is like, yes, we got to get rid of this, this, and that. And just like, we had to get rid of it for the sake of our facts. The fact that I could still look at her stuff and whatnot is a little hurtful to me. But I suppose in a way it's a little hurtful for him too, because if we start throwing these things away, if we start doing that, where's your memory and everything? But I don't know. I still think about my dad constantly. I think about my grandpa every now and again too. Keep finding things of his stuff too. And just, there is just a lot. There is so much stuff that you leave. And I swear to God, there really, really is. I cannot stress enough to you people how important it is to label stuff that you don't want. Like, just label your valuables to a certain degree. Like, this is good, this is good, this is good, keep it. That would be it. Because if not, your loved ones will have to look through all your shit, all of it, get reminded of certain things, see certain things that they don't want to see. And would just have to be like, do I throw this out? Do I throw this out? Everyone that goes through that, every single person that goes through the whole entire, like, die thing, just, they have to go through that process, and sucks ass. That is easily the worst part about it. It really is. And we've just been dealing with a lot of that. And I'm finally in a place where I feel like I could tell y'all and it'd be fine. Because I'm mostly frustrated at this point. I'm mostly just there, very annoyed. But I am getting better. He is getting better. It sucks when someone that you love is not in the same place that you are in terms of grieving. It does. Because you have to wait a little bit. You have to wait a little bit and make sure that it does that. And I'm trying to be good about it. Trying to be good about the whole situation. But just like, I want to go. I want to just be done with all of this. I want to move on to the next stage. I want to do it to where this feels more like my house. So I don't have to think about all the empty fucking memories around here. And that's really it. So yeah. Maybe it wasn't as sad as I thought it would be, but I'm at my wit's end about it. I really am, and I don't know what to do. So I just have to wait. Hope for the best. And don't worry, y'all. Next week will be a little better on the whole entire situation. We're probably going to be doing a lot more vlogs. For sure. Till then, sayonara. Bye-bye.